Hello friends. Did you know that those born on February 6th carry a cosmic signature that blends Aquarian brilliance with a unique kind of emotional mystery? Beneath their cool charm and witty banter, there's a treasure chest of purpose, passion, and potential. If you were born on this date, or know someone who was, then buckle up, because we're about to explore every corner of this captivating birthdate, from love and friendship to business and astrology, even ancient Druid wisdom. Let's open the stars, shall we? Astrological profile, the February 6th Aquarian. If you were born on February 6th, you're not just an Aquarius, you're a distinct subspecies within the Zodiac's most futuristic sign. Aquarians are often called the Thalians of astrology, visionary, rebellious, and utterly unique. But February 6th Aquarians bring something extra to the cosmic cocktail, a mysterious emotional depth and magnetic presence that few other Aquarians exhibit. Let's start with your ruling planet, Uranus. Known for its unpredictability, Uranus blesses you with a brain that's always a few steps ahead. You're thinking about solutions to problems others haven't even noticed yet. Your ideas are lightning bolts, brilliant, shocking, and sometimes a little bit dangerous to the status quo. But February 6th adds a Venusian layer to your personality. Venus, associated with love, beauty, and charm, softens some of the detachment typical of Aquarians. You may still ghost a party without saying goodbye, but you'll do it with style, grace, and a playlist recommendation. You're part poet, part rebel, part romantic philosopher. People born on February 6th often walk the line between being incredibly self-reliant and deeply yearning for authentic connection. You don't want superficial relationships. You want soul-merging conversations at 2 a.m. and collaborations that change the world. Still, you're fiercely protective of your freedom, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Your sense of humor deserves its own astrological classification. You're witty, yes, but your humor often comes with a twist of irony, absurdity, or unexpected honesty. People laugh, not just because you're funny, but because you reveal hidden truths through humor. You're not just cracking jokes, you're delivering insights with punchlines. Your moral compass is also worth noting. February 6th Aquarians have a strong sense of right and wrong, but they don't follow rules blindly. If a law or tradition feels outdated or unfair, you're the first to challenge it. You're not afraid to question authority, especially when justice or innovation is at stake. You'd rather create your own ethical blueprint than live by someone else's outdated code. And then there's your quiet instinct to help others. You're not showy about it. You won't post selfies handing out food to the homeless. But you're the one who stays on the phone when someone's falling apart. You'll give away your last $20 if it means someone else can get home safely. Your empathy runs deep, even if you don't always express it with traditional emotion. Your contradictions are what make you whole. You're independent but crave intimacy, idealistic but skeptical, grounded in logic but moved by beauty. You're a paradox in motion, and that's exactly your power. Love, electric chemistry, elusive hearts. When it comes to love, February 6th Aquarians are electromagnetic beings. You attract, repel, and mystify all at once. Falling in love for you isn't a gentle tumble, it's a cerebral roller coaster. You don't catch feelings, you analyze them, challenge them, and then, if they survive your mental interrogation, you dive in, headfirst. You don't just fall for someone's face or body. You fall for their mind, their ideas, their oddball theories about the universe. The perfect partner for you doesn't just say, "I love you," they say, "Have you ever thought about time as a flat circle?" That's what gets your heart racing. But your love style is also deeply paradoxical. You crave deep connection, but suffocate under emotional neediness. You want a partner who understands your desire for closeness but also respects your absolute need for personal space. You'll give your all to a relationship, if it doesn't feel like it's taking yourself in the process. Your biggest romantic fear? Being trapped. Not necessarily by a person, but by a routine, a label, or an expectation. You rebel against anything that threatens your autonomy. But once you trust that your freedom won't be compromised, you can be an incredibly loyal, even devoted, partner. You're affectionate, but in your own way. Maybe you don't say, "I love you," every morning, but you'll send your partner a weird, hyper-specific meme that perfectly captures an inside joke from 3 years ago. That's how you say, "I remember. I care. I'm still here." And let's talk about how you flirt. Oh boy. Your flirting is a mind game wrapped in humor, wrapped in mild aloofness. You'll tease, banter, challenge, and joke, but never quite reveal your cards. It's like playing chess while riding a skateboard, impressive, dangerous, and hard to follow. But those who do keep up, they're hooked. When you connect with someone, the chemistry is wild. Not always loud or dramatic, but intellectually electric. You could spend hours dissecting a movie, an idea, or a feeling. You bond through conversation and shared curiosity. Sexual attraction is important to you, but mental attraction is the gateway. Your ideal matches. Signs that match your intellect and your independence. Gemini, they get your need for stimulation and reinvention. Libra, their balance and diplomacy complement your eccentric fire. Sagittarius, they're just wild enough to keep you interested and free enough to not freak you out. But be careful with signs like Cancer or Scorpio. Unless they're unusually secure and open-minded, their emotional intensity may feel more like an ocean you can't swim in. One final note, people often fall for you harder than you fall for them, because to others, you're a kind of puzzle wrapped in poetry, with a cool exterior and a lightning storm underneath. You're unforgettable. And that's both your magic and your challenge in love. Sex, inventive, curious, unexpected. When it comes to sex, February 6th Aquarians don't follow the manual, they rewrite it. Then they redesign the manual's cover, question why it even existed in the first place, and throw in a philosophical footnote about human desire. Traditional bedroom roles. Prescribed routines. Expected dynamics. Yawn. You crave novelty, intimacy with a twist, and above all, authenticity. Your sexuality isn't about dominance or submission, it's about discovery. You're like an erotic scientist, endlessly curious, always wanting to explore new sensations, experiences, and emotional dimensions. For you, sex is part lab experiment, part creative expression, part spiritual puzzle. It's not just about physical pleasure, it's a full sensory, mind-body connection that demands mutual openness and a shared sense of wonder. Exploration is at the core of your sensual identity. You're not shocked by kink, you're fascinated by it. You don't judge desires, you investigate them. As long as everything is safe, consensual, and intellectually satisfying, you're game to try it. In fact, many people born on February 6th are the first to bring up ideas others are too shy to admit. You can be quietly bold, leading your partner into uncharted waters, not to show off, but to expand what love and intimacy can be. Your foreplay doesn't start in the bedroom, it starts in the brain. A charged conversation, a clever joke, a well-timed text that walks the line between sweet and suggestive, that's where your desire ignites. You're a master of mental foreplay, and your lovers often find themselves magnetized before a single touch happens. You seduce with your ideas. Your eyes may be cool, but your words burn. And when you do get physical, you're present, but in your own Aquarian way. There's a kind of detached intensity to your style. You're in the moment, fully alert, but there's always a part of your mind observing, analyzing, adjusting. This doesn't make you cold, it makes you uniquely responsive. You read your partner's body like a language, and you translate it with empathy and innovation. Your libido isn't typically wild or insatiable, but it's consistent and quietly strong. It ebbs and flows based on your emotional and intellectual environment. If your mind is overstimulated, or you're creatively blocked, sex becomes a form of release and reconnection. But if your brain is bored, forget it. Your body won't fake it for anyone, not even yourself. You're not the kind of lover who needs candles, roses, or a playlist of 90s R&B, though you're not opposed to it, either. What you need is intention, presence, imagination. A partner who isn't afraid to talk, experiment, and laugh in the middle of it all. Someone who knows that pleasure isn't linear, and that satisfaction, for you, lives in both the strange and the sincere. One of your superpowers in intimacy is how you make people feel safe to be their real selves. There's something disarming about your curiosity and lack of judgment. You invite vulnerability without demanding it. And when you feel trusted in return, that's when your most powerful, passionate side comes out, not as performance, but as liberation. You don't need sex to feel loved, but when it's aligned with your values and intelligence, it becomes a transcendent experience. To you, the best intimacy is unexpected, sincere, and always a little bit uncharted. Just the way you like it. Marriage, unconventional but committed. For someone born on February 6th, the idea of marriage can be both fascinating and terrifying. On one hand, you love the thought of deep, lifelong partnership. On the other, you recoil at anything that smells like stagnation, control, or social obligation. You're not anti-marriage, you're anti-cliché. You don't want to follow the rules. You want to create a love story that's yours alone. Traditional vows. You might write your own. Church wedding. Maybe not. Matching bathrobes and monogrammed towels. Only if they come in ironic neon. You see, for you, the point of marriage isn't to fit into a mold, it's to build something so personal, so alive, that it constantly evolves with both people. What makes a February 6th Aquarian thrive in marriage is partnership over possession. You want a co-pilot, not a boss. A fellow dreamer, not a dependent. Someone who will not only walk beside you through life but also challenge you, expand you, push you toward becoming the next version of yourself. And you'll do the same for them. The best marriages for you are built on shared missions. Maybe you start a business together, co-parent like pros, or travel the world documenting disappearing cultures. The details don't matter, it's the parallel passion that does. When you and your partner are building something that matters, your bond becomes unstoppable. That's when you show your deepest loyalty. Because yes, you are loyal. Once you commit, you're solid. But commitment for you doesn't mean losing your autonomy. In fact, your loyalty deepens when you're allowed to stay true to yourself. You need freedom to grow, explore, even retreat from time to time. Not because you're pulling away, but because you're recharging, realigning, and getting ready to come back stronger. In marriage, you may sometimes drift into your own world. You might forget to text, go silent during a project, or disappear into a book for a weekend. This doesn't mean you're disengaged, it means your mind needs room to breathe. A partner who understands this, and doesn't take it personally, will unlock the most deeply committed version of you. But if that understanding doesn't exist, things start to unravel. Not with explosions, but with quiet withdrawal. You don't do drama, but you do distance. That's why communication is the lifeline of your marriage. You need a relationship where everything can be said, even the uncomfortable stuff. Especially the uncomfortable stuff. Your love isn't loud, but it's authentic and enduring. When you find someone who can grow with you, challenge you, and respect your uniqueness, you'll give them not just your heart, but your future. And that's something you take seriously. A February 6th marriage may not look normal. But then again, you're not here to be normal. You're here to show that love can be wild, wise, weird, and absolutely worth it. Friendship, the intellectual rebel. Friendship for someone born on February 6th isn't about collecting people for show, it's about forming electric, idea-driven connections with those who get you. Your friendships are less like social contracts and more like spontaneous pacts between two souls who agree to stay curious, evolve together, and maybe shake the system a little while they're at it. You make friends in unexpected places, because that's where your spirit thrives. You're just as likely to bond with someone during a debate at a philosophy club as you are in the comments section of a niche conspiracy theory subreddit. You might meet your closest confidant at a climate protest or a late-night sci-fi screening. Your social magnetism isn't about being loud, it's about the way you make people feel seen, challenged, and inspired. You're often the problem solver in your friend group, the one who cuts through emotional drama with a thoughtful observation or unexpected joke that resets the whole vibe. People turn to you when things fall apart because you bring not just clarity, but possibility. You don't always fix things conventionally, but your perspective unlocks new paths others can't see. And yes, you disappear sometimes. You'll go radio silent for weeks, lost in a project, a book, or your own thoughts. But when you return, it's never empty-handed. You come back with something, a story, an insight, a wild plan for a road trip or a collaborative zine. Your absence isn't detachment, it's incubation. True friends learn to trust that your vanishing act isn't abandonment, it's part of your rhythm. You value honesty above comfort, creativity above conformity, and depth over trendiness. You don't care how many followers someone has or whether they RSVP to brunch. What matters is whether they can talk to you about death, aliens, revolution, or why they cried watching an animated film. Your circle is filled with the bold, the brilliant, the beautifully weird. Your best friendships often come with Geminis, who can match your quick wit and bounce from topic to topic without losing their footing. Libras bring emotional balance and a sense of aesthetics that soothes your sometimes chaotic mind. Aries challenge you, hype you up, and invite you into bold new experiences, even if you roll your eyes at their impulsiveness. But no matter the sign, what you truly crave in friendship is freedom plus loyalty. Not clingy dependence, but the kind of relationship where both of you can wander off in different directions and always come back stronger. You're not into shallow group dynamics or fake niceties. You want to talk about what matters, on your terms, in your time, with your people. In friendship, you're not just memorable, you're transformative. Those who get close to you often say they see the world differently after knowing you. And isn't that the greatest gift a friend can give? Business, the visionary creator. Born on February 6th, you are not built for cubicles, clock punching, or routine-based repetition. You're here to redefine the way things are done. You see the flaws in the system, but instead of just complaining, you ask, what if we did it differently? Then you actually go out and do it. You are, at your core, a visionary creator, driven by purpose and guided by innovation. You thrive in industries that are either emerging or in flux, because that's where your ability to adapt and reinvent shines brightest. Whether it's launching a sustainability-focused brand, crafting AI-powered platforms, or directing documentaries that expose hidden truths, you're drawn to work that combines intellect, idealism, and invention. One of your greatest strengths is being an independent thinker. You don't rely on consensus. You don't wait for permission. You see patterns others miss and propose ideas others are too afraid to say out loud. You're not just ahead of the curve, you often are the curve. That kind of insight makes you an incredible strategist, creative director, innovator, or founder. You also possess a rare form of strategic risk-taking. You don't leap without looking, you calculate, research, and then jump farther than anyone thought possible. You understand that growth requires discomfort, and you're not afraid to challenge industry norms, build new models, or destroy what isn't working to make space for what could. You perform exceptionally well under pressure, especially when others are losing their heads. Crises energize you. Deadlines focus you. You're able to zoom out, assess the big picture, and still find the most innovative, human-centered solution. In fact, many February 6 Aquarians report that their biggest career breakthroughs came during moments of chaos. But even a genius has their weak spots. You can be impatient with bureaucracy, especially when systems seem wasteful, outdated, or morally suspect. You want things done efficiently and ethically, and you have little tolerance for red tape or corporate jargon. Similarly, you often struggle with authority, not because you're defiant by nature, but because respect, to you, must be earned, not assumed by title or seniority. If your manager micromanages you or expects blind obedience, it's game over. But if they challenge you, collaborate with you, and give you room to think, you'll work like a machine fueled by passion and espresso. As for careers, the list is as wide and unconventional as you are. You might thrive as a UX/UI designer, because you're wired to create intuitive systems that solve real problems. As a social entrepreneur, you can merge your idealism with actionable change. You'd kill it as a film director, where your ability to synthesize story, vision, and detail comes alive. Or maybe you build tools as an AI developer that push the world forward ethically and creatively. And if there's corruption to uncover or truths to tell, your skills scream investigative journalist. But beyond job titles, what really fuels you is impact. You need your work to mean something. Money helps, prestige is nice, but if you're not changing minds, challenging systems, or creating something real, you'll eventually walk away. You are not meant to follow a path. You're here to blaze one, and light it with your own ideas, your own fire, and your refusal to settle for good enough. Zodiac Compatibility Snapshot. For February 6th Aquarians, compatibility isn't about textbook zodiac matches, it's about connection that feels stimulating, liberating, and just weird enough to be interesting. You're not easily impressed by surface chemistry. You want spark plus conversation, flirtation plus freedom. Your love language includes banter, boundary-respecting independence, and the occasional disappearing act followed by a grand return. Let's break down how you vibe with each of these 6 signs, and why some can make magic with you, while others might make you want to retreat into your own galaxy. Gemini. This is a 5-star, top-tier, made-in-heaven kind of match. You and Gemini are like mental ping-pong partners in the Olympics of witty conversation. Together, you generate ideas faster than most couples can agree on dinner. Gemini doesn't cling, and you don't smother, so there's space, movement, and constant reinvention. The only downside? You might both avoid emotional depth if no one decides to steer the ship inward. But if you're both willing to drop the irony and get real now and then, this relationship will not only last, it'll evolve. Libra. Libra brings grace, balance, and beauty to your sometimes chaotic, lightning-speed mind. This is a thoughtful, idealistic pairing, full of deep talks about justice, art, and what it means to be human. Libra soothes your intensity without dulling your edge, and you bring boldness to Libra's harmony. The challenge? Decision-making. You both tend to overthink or delay choices, and emotions can get analyzed instead of felt. But with mutual respect and good timing, this becomes a deeply elegant and emotionally rewarding partnership. Leo. This match comes with fireworks, and warnings. Leo loves admiration, attention, and bold gestures. You, on the other hand, prefer subtle impact, intellectual recognition, and a bit of mystery. When it works, it's thrilling, passion, laughter, high-level creativity. When it doesn't, it's because Leo needs more devotion than you're ready to show, or they misread your independence as disinterest. There's potential here if both partners are secure, confident, and ready to share the stage. But if either party gets petty, the ego clash can blow the whole thing apart. Scorpio. Let's just say, intense is an understatement. Scorpio wants to merge souls, you want to hold hands while running in opposite directions. There's attraction here, magnetic, complex, undeniable, but emotional expectations can get dangerously out of sync. Scorpio's need for depth and exclusivity might clash with your craving for freedom and mental space. This pairing can work if there's emotional maturity and shared purpose, but it often feels like a power struggle masquerading as romance. Still, if you both evolve beyond possessiveness and suspicion, the bond could be transformative. Cancer. Sweet, nurturing Cancer might admire your mind and appreciate your uniqueness, but they may struggle with your emotional detachment. You're forward-thinking and pragmatic, Cancer is nostalgic and feeling-driven. Their sensitivity may feel overwhelming to you, and your cool demeanor may feel rejecting to them. It's not that you can't care, it's that you show it differently. With effort and an enormous amount of understanding, this can be a safe space for growth, but more often than not, you feel like you're speaking different love languages entirely. Sagittarius. Now this is your wild card win. Sagittarius is your cosmic cousin of freedom and expansion. Together, you explore, build, and challenge ideas. You both need space, adventure, and truth, and neither of you fears change. This pairing thrives on shared goals and movement. It's ideal for non-traditional relationships or partnerships where both parties have separate passions and joint missions. Just make sure someone's tending the emotional garden. If no one slows down long enough to nurture vulnerability, things can stay surface level. But with a little grounding, this match flies. At the end of the day, you're not looking for the one who completes you. You're looking for the one who evolves with you, who sees love as an ever-expanding concept, not a checklist. Compatibility for you means being seen, not managed, respected, not owned, and inspired, not confined. Numerology, the power of 6. Born on the 6th of February, your numerological blueprint carries the deeply resonant energy of the number 6, a number ruled by Venus, the planet of love, beauty, family, harmony, and idealism. This is where your cool Aquarius exterior starts to melt a little, revealing a surprisingly soft, protective, almost old soul heart underneath the rebel armor. At first glance, people see the classic Aquarian traits, detached, analytical, fiercely independent. But beneath that, the number 6 brings a deep emotional intelligence and a need to care. You're not just an innovator, you're a protector. You want to make the world better, not just smarter. You care deeply about justice, not just strategy. This is what sets you apart from other Aquarians. Your humanitarian mind has a healer's heart behind it. The number 6 is the number of service and responsibility. You're someone who instinctively wants to take care of others, not in a clingy or controlling way, but in a deeply ethical, purposeful way. You may be the friend who checks in, the partner who notices what others need before they ask, or the leader who ensures no one is left behind. You often take on more emotional responsibility than you let on. Romantically, the 6 vibration softens your Aquarian detachment. You may act like love is an intellectual puzzle, but deep down, you're a secret romantic who believes in soulmates, slow dances, and love letters even if you write them in code or as ironic haikus. You want connection that's not only stimulating but safe, nurturing, and real. Creatively, SXS are drawn to beauty in all its forms. You may have a strong aesthetic sense, whether it's in design, music, architecture, or just how you set up your workspace. You may be the kind of person who notices the color temperature of a room or the emotional tone of a piece of music before anyone else. You instinctively harmonize your environment, often without realizing it. And when it comes to values, you don't just believe in doing what's right, you believe in doing what's right for the greater good. You're an idealist who holds yourself to high moral standards, sometimes to the point of being hard on yourself. But when balanced, this gives you an inner compass that rarely leads you astray. Your challenge: avoiding martyrdom. The 6 can give so much to others that they forget to care for themselves. As a February 6th Aquarian, you may overextend your emotional energy trying to fix, support, or rescue. Remember, boundaries are love too. Ultimately, your 6 energy makes you the kind of person who heals through ideas, uplifts through honesty, and protects through presence. You're the rebel who bakes cookies. The intellectual who hugs with words. The futurist with a floral soul. So yes, you're a free-thinking Aquarian. But you're also something rarer, a Venus-kissed visionary, blending innovation with heart, and revolution with compassion. Druid Horoscope, the Cypress Tree. In the mystical wisdom of the Celtic Druid Zodiac, being born on February 6 places you under the ancient and deeply symbolic sign of the Cypress Tree. Among the sacred groves of the Druids, each tree held a unique energetic vibration, and the cypress was known as the eternal survivor, a being rooted in strength, resilience, and an almost magical ability to endure and transform. Cypress-born individuals carry an inner solidity that doesn't always show on the surface. You may come across as light-hearted, even whimsical, but at your core, you're made of ironwood. Life can bend you, stretch you, even throw storms your way, but it rarely breaks you. That's because, like the tree itself, your roots run deep. You draw strength from inner reserves that others don't even know exist. This durability doesn't mean you're rigid. Quite the opposite, Cypress energy is about adaptive strength. You can change locations, change jobs, change skins, and still remain yourself. Your independence isn't performative, it's part of your survival. You know how to stand alone, not because you don't value connection, but because your relationship with yourself is unshakable. Cypress people are often marked by a quiet dignity. You don't need to announce your value. You simply exist with a presence that's felt more than declared. Whether you're walking into a room or stepping into a crisis, people sense your inner stability. They trust you, even when they don't know why. You project both security and possibility, and that makes you magnetic. You are deeply spiritual, though you may not always call it that. You understand intuitively that life is a cycle, of loss and rebirth, of endings and beginnings. Death, in both the literal and metaphorical sense, doesn't scare you. In fact, you've likely reinvented yourself multiple times, shedding past versions like bark in spring. You grow through what you outgrow, and each iteration brings you closer to your true essence. Emotionally, you're complex but composed. You feel deeply, but rarely unravel in public. You're the kind of person who supports others in their darkest moments, all while managing your own silent battles. And when you finally open up, it's with poetic precision, like a tree cracking open to release new sap. Cypress-born individuals are naturally protective, not just of people, but of values, of spaces, of energy. You're the one who remembers birthdays, defends the vulnerable, and calls out injustice without needing a spotlight. You don't seek applause, you seek integrity. But you also carry an edge. If crossed or betrayed, you don't rage, you withdraw, cold and complete. And once someone's shown you their true colors, you don't forget. You forgive in silence, if at all. In relationships, friendships, and career, your Cypress nature makes you someone people lean on, but not easily shake. You move through life like a storm-proof tower, graceful, reliable, and unmistakably your own force of nature. Flower Horoscope, Orchid. The flower associated with February 6 is the orchid, and this is no accident. In the symbolic language of flowers, the orchid stands for refinement, rare beauty, sensual complexity, and the kind of mystery that invites obsession. And if there's any bloom that mirrors your essence, it's this one. Orchids are not for everyone. They require specific light, deliberate care, and attention to subtle details. They don't shout for attention like roses or tulips, they whisper in elegance, demanding a slower gaze, a more patient eye. Similarly, you are not the kind of person everyone understands at first glance. Your personality has layers, contradictions, and curiosities that only reveal themselves over time. You possess a rare combination of emotional intensity and artistic detachment. You feel deeply, but you often express your inner world through beauty, design, creativity, or irony. You're the kind of person who turns heartbreak into a song, longing into a piece of abstract art, or passion into an elegant silence that lingers. You live your feelings, but you also curate them. Orchid energy isn't about loud presence, it's about impact through subtlety. You can walk into a room and shift the energy without saying a word. People are drawn to your mystique, to the way you seem to know something they don't. You exude refinement, not the stiff, performative kind, but the kind born from self-awareness, taste, and restraint. Being like an orchid also means being selective. You don't bond with everyone, and you're not meant to. Your circle is likely small, but intensely loyal. You prefer meaningful conversation over small talk, artistic chaos over predictable routine, and complexity over simplicity, every time. You don't just want to be loved, you want to be understood, and that's a higher bar. You also have a gift for adapting without compromising. Orchids thrive in strange climates because they know how to bend without breaking. You're the same way. You might travel through emotional winters and existential droughts, but somehow you always bloom again, smarter, stronger, and just a little more fascinating than before. And while you might not always look like a rebel, your preferences are quietly subversive. You don't follow trends, you anticipate or ignore them. You don't crave popularity, you crave authentic resonance. You'd rather be loved deeply by a few than superficially by the many. Your allure lies in what's not said, what's half revealed, what's left to be discovered. And for those lucky enough to know you closely, the experience is unforgettable. You're not everyone's favorite flower, but to the right soul, you are breathtaking. Like the orchid, you stand as a symbol of exquisite contradiction, delicate yet enduring, emotional yet elusive, rooted yet free. And in a world that often shouts for attention, your quiet brilliance speaks volumes. Stone horoscope, amethyst. If you were born on February 6th, your birthstone is amethyst, a gem that isn't just beautiful to look at, but rich with meaning, energy, and spiritual resonance. This isn't a stone that sparkles for vanity. Amethyst is for the seeker, the intuitive, the quiet visionary, all qualities that align perfectly with the Aquarian soul, especially one born in early February. Amethyst has long been known as a stone of calm and clarity, and for someone with an active, electrified mind like yours, this gem can be an emotional anchor. Your thoughts are fast, your ideas are endless, and your brain can sometimes run in 12 directions at once. Amethyst doesn't slow you down, it grounds your brilliance, helping you focus, prioritize, and act with intention. It's like a cool breeze for a stormy intellect. But more than just a mental soother, amethyst also amplifies your inner knowing. February 6th individuals are deeply intuitive, even if they don't always trust that side of themselves right away. This stone strengthens your gut instincts, helps you tune into subtle energetic cues, and invites greater self-trust, especially when you're navigating life's murkier decisions. You might not always feel psychic, but when you have an amethyst nearby, you'll notice the signs start speaking louder. One of the most cherished gifts of this stone is its protective energy. As an Aquarius with a numerological 6 vibration, you tend to absorb emotional atmospheres, even if you play it cool on the outside. You walk into a room and pick up on tension, energy shifts, or unspoken dynamics. Amethyst creates a kind of spiritual buffer zone, guarding you against emotional noise and energetic overwhelm. It doesn't block connection, it just filters out the static. This stone also encourages a higher perspective, which is essential for your soul. You're not here to get stuck in petty dramas or rigid dogmas. You're here to zoom out, see the cosmic picture, and offer insight. Amethyst helps you rise above distractions and plug into wisdom beyond the material world. Whether you meditate, dream vividly, or just like your alone time to recharge, having amethyst nearby deepens those experiences. You don't have to wear it 24/7 though you could. Place it on your desk to promote clarity while working. Keep one by your bed to enhance dream recall and emotional restoration. Or carry a small piece in your pocket when you're entering emotionally charged spaces. Over time, you'll feel a shift in how you respond to stress, how you speak your truth, and how easily you access your own peace. In short, amethyst isn't just your birthstone, it's your energetic mirror. It reflects back your higher self, reminds you of your power, and keeps your path aligned with your purpose. For a mind like yours and a spirit like yours, it's not just helpful, it's essential. Vedic Astrology, Shatabhisha Nakshatra. In the rich spiritual science of Vedic astrology, if you were born on February 6th, there's a good chance your moon falls into the Shatabhisha Nakshatra, one of the most mysterious and transformational lunar houses. This star cluster is ruled by Rahu, the shadow planet of illusion, rebellion, and karmic evolution. And just like the energy of Aquarius in Western astrology, Shatabhisha is complex, paradoxical, and powerful. Shatabhisha translates to 100 healers, or the veiling stars, which speaks volumes about your soul's role in this lifetime. You're here not just to witness the world, but to heal, disrupt, and ultimately transform it. You are both a rebel and a healer, someone who resists convention but often becomes the very authority they once questioned. It's a journey that requires courage, clarity, and spiritual depth, and you were born with all three. People with Shatabhisha strong in their chart often oscillate between extremes. You can be wildly social one moment, then crave total isolation the next. This isn't moodiness, it's rhythm. Your soul needs time to process, recharge, and recalibrate, especially after deep emotional or intellectual exchanges. You're not someone who thrives on constant input. You thrive when you have space to think, dream, and distill meaning from chaos. One of your spiritual gifts is the ability to see through illusion. Rahu's influence gives you a sharp eye for systems that aren't working, for truths that are being ignored, and for deeper patterns hiding beneath the obvious. You're naturally skeptical, not in a cynical way, but in a let's dig deeper kind of way. You question everything, beliefs, rules, norms, even your own thoughts. And through that questioning, you often discover truths that others miss. But what makes you extraordinary is this: once you uncover those truths, you don't just hoard them, you teach them. Many born under Shatabhisha become guides, mentors, or agents of social change. You might start as an outsider, but over time, people begin to turn to you for insight, wisdom, and leadership. You may not seek the spotlight, but your clarity becomes contagious. You end up becoming the very teacher you once wished you had. Shatabhisha energy also lends itself to healing professions, though healing for you isn't limited to medicine. You might heal through technology, innovation, writing, or activism. You don't always operate with a stethoscope. You might carry a laptop, a camera, or a protest sign instead. Whatever your tool, your purpose is to restore truth, dignity, and balance. Your Vedic sun sign likely falls under Kumbha Rashi Aquarius as well, doubling down on themes of futurism, community, and spiritual evolution. You're here to serve humanity, not in a saintly, self-sacrificing way, but in a visionary, structural, and deeply intelligent way. You're meant to invent new systems, liberate old minds, and bring the future into the present. In this lifetime, your challenge is to balance the cerebral with the spiritual. Your mind is brilliant, but don't let it disconnect you from your heart. Trust your intuition. Honor your need for solitude, but don't isolate out of fear. And most importantly, know this: your contradictions aren't flaws, they're your fuel. With Shatabhisha in your stars and Rahu as your guide, you were born to disrupt, rebuild, and elevate. And every challenge you face is just another layer being peeled back, so your truth, your healing, and your power can fully emerge. Life mission: connect the dots. If you were born on February 6th, your life mission isn't to follow in anyone's footsteps, it's to leave a trail of your own. You are here to connect what was never meant to be separated, to build bridges between worlds that rarely talk to each other, and to offer new visions where old systems have gone stale. Your existence is the intersection of paradoxes, and your genius lies in uniting them. You were born with one foot in the realm of logic and the other in the depths of emotion. While others often pick a side, cold rationality or chaotic feeling, you're wired to live in the fertile tension between them. You understand that truth doesn't always come dressed in facts or feelings alone, it emerges where those two energies converge and collaborate. You're the person who can translate heartache into insight, who can explain empathy through structure, who can analyze without abandoning compassion. You're also meant to heal the divide between individualism and community. As an Aquarian, you value freedom, innovation, and self-sovereignty. But you also carry a numerological 6 energy, which is all about connection, responsibility, and love. This duality makes you uniquely qualified to redefine what belonging looks like. You believe people should be allowed to be fully themselves without sacrificing their role in the greater good. You dream of a society where uniqueness and unity amplify each other rather than cancel each other out. Your soul also vibrates in harmony with evolution. You've likely felt, from an early age, that much of what surrounds you is outdated, inefficient, or just plain wrong. But you're not here to burn it all down. You're here to transform the system, to inject new ideas, build better frameworks, and invent futures no one's dared to imagine. Where others see chaos or contradiction, you see opportunity. You see the next version. That's why you're not wired to walk a pre-paved path. Rules, routines, expectations, they're suggestions at best. You weren't born to replicate. You were born to reconfigure. To remix the formula. To draw the map that others will one day follow. You don't just adapt to change, you are the change. You are the poet coder, the healer activist, the dreamer engineer. You are a living contradiction, and that is your greatest gift. You're not here to pick sides. You're here to build bridges. And in a world divided, that mission is not just noble, it's necessary. Key life lessons. Freedom isn't the absence of connection, it's the presence of authentic connection. As a February 6th Aquarian, you value independence like oxygen. But one of your greatest lessons is realizing that real freedom doesn't mean isolation. It means having the courage to be fully yourself while being fully known by others. It means choosing relationships where you don't have to shrink, perform, or hide, where your autonomy is honored, not feared. When you find those rare souls who let you fly and still hold space for you to land, that's when you'll understand that freedom and love aren't enemies, they're teammates. Don't hide behind ideas when emotions are calling. Your mind is a fortress, sharp, quick, beautifully built. But sometimes you use it to protect your heart in ways that keep people out. You intellectualize your feelings. You analyze instead of express. You deflect with humor, retreat into theories, or go quiet when what you really want is to be seen emotionally, not just mentally. Your journey involves learning how to speak your heart, not just your mind. Vulnerability isn't weakness for you, it's the highest form of clarity. You don't need to fight tradition, just build something better. You're a natural disruptor, allergic to stagnation, and unafraid to call out what's broken. But not everything old is useless. Some traditions hold wisdom, some roots are worth preserving. Your power lies in discernment, knowing what to let go of and what to reimagine. You don't have to destroy what came before, you just have to design something more truthful, more inclusive, more alive. Your evolution is not fueled by rage, it's fueled by vision. You're not here to play the game. You're here to redefine the rules, then invite others to play with you. Your life will make the most sense in hindsight, like constellations drawn after the stars are mapped. But through every phase, every pivot, every reinvention, one truth remains: you are the dot connector. The bridge builder. The future dreamer. And your life's mission? It's not a straight line. It's a constellation, and only you can see how the stars align. Final thought. If February 6th were a person, they wouldn't walk into a room, they'd materialize like a glitch in the matrix, eyes full of galaxies, coffee in one hand, revolutionary idea in the other. This is the kind of soul who leaves people wondering, who was that, and how did they just change the energy of the entire room without saying much? They're not loud, but they're loud in their impact. They don't demand attention, but the air shifts when they speak. There's something otherworldly in their timing, their humor, their timing of humor. Even their silences feel strategic. They disappear often, but not because they don't care. They vanish because their mind needs space, and their soul demands depth. And when they return, they're holding some blueprint for the future, a weird but perfect book recommendation, and a half-finished song that somehow captures the way the world feels at 3 a.m. They're the friend who upgrades your mind, even when they're just texting you memes at midnight. They don't show up constantly, but when they do, they show up profoundly. Loving a February 6th Aquarian is not about proximity, it's about permission. Permission to be different. To be complex. To be a paradox that never settles, never hardens, and never fakes it for anyone. Their love isn't loud. It's layered. It shows up in how they listen, in what they remember, in the way they push you to think harder, be braver, dream weirder. It's a kind of love that makes you want to evolve, just to keep up with the way their mind moves. To befriend one is to be invited into a private universe of ideas, jokes, emotional loopholes, and sudden wisdom. They may not return your texts on time, but they'll remember your favorite poem from 4 years ago. They may ghost the party, but they'll check in at 2:07 a.m. on a Tuesday because they sensed something was off. They're not performative friends. They're soul companions in disguise, and if you're lucky enough to be in their orbit, you'll never see the world quite the same again. And if you are the February 6th Aquarian, own it. You are not too much. You are not too little. You are exactly the kind of rare, radiant contradiction the world needs more of. You were born to be complicated, compassionate, brilliant, and bold, all at once. The world might not always understand you, but trust this, the right people will find you, and when they do, they'll feel like they've just met the future wrapped in a human. So here's to the cosmic misfits, the quiet visionaries, the thinkers with soft hearts and rebel souls. Here's to you. Enjoyed this star-powered breakdown? Then hit that like button, subscribe for more cosmic insights, and check out the description for Zodiac deep dives and tools that help you live with more clarity, creativity, and alignment. Oh, and send this to that Aquarian rebel in your life. They'll probably act like it's no big deal. But don't worry, they'll read every single word.